Yep, yeah, that's good enough. Hey, there we go. A little more light. Anyway, Plasticon here, guys. Hey, how's it going? I wanted to get in here and talk to you guys a little bit about collecting in general. In this crazy age we got going on right now with a lot of stuff that has been going on with, price hike and all that such. That's really swayed a lot of people away from actually collecting, and I can understand why when it comes to collecting new figures, stuff that, within about a couple of years, this stuff's going to be available on the market over. It's just out there, It's my thing to kind of cushion this and help you guys probably embrace a little bit of the other side of collecting, as maybe go back and try to get the stuff that you guys didn't get a chance to get in the past. There's plenty of vintage stuff you guys can find. There's plenty of retro stuff. But there's also some really, really good stuff out there that you probably didn't really dig for. And it might help you cope with the lack of being able to get hold of a new figure due to whatever's going on in the world. A lot of this boils down to living in the United States. It's hard for some people to get hold of some of these figures and such because life itself really gives people problems when it comes to trying to get hold of certain things because other people want to, hurt the hobby, cause mental illness from this, whatever. I personally have learned throughout the years to just not be the guy that jumps on the boat every time something brand new comes out. Yeah, it's cool, but is it? Look at the objects you're actually trying to get. And, it doesn't matter if it's a Transformer, it doesn't matter if it's a Marvel figure, it doesn't matter if it's a G.I. Joe, it doesn't matter if it's a Star Wars figure, any of them. Like, I'm not being biased when it comes to any of the figures are out there. I mean, even books, sometimes it's even like some kind of electronic device or something like that you guys are trying to get hold of. The collecting and buying and consuming it nowadays is kind of been nipped in the butt when it comes to the United States. It's kind of really hurt our outlook on what's going to be here for the foreseeable future. I'm not getting into the politics side, not going to get into the number side. All I'm going to tell you is be smart with your money, figure out what you're going to do, and be positive about it. Like, try to do the best you can with the situations you got at hand. Like, if you got the money, cool, then get it. But if you don't, and it's going to cost you a ton of money to try to import it, is it really worth that? And not to mention, okay, if you're going to go through BBTS or, TF Source or AmiAmi or, I don't know, AliExpress, any of this stuff, beware for the price hike. The price hike is there. It's going to get you. But even Hasbro's even going to have to bump their prices because of this whole situation. And it's not fun for anybody. So if you're not going to be able to afford to buy the new stuff, then go and buy the older stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. There's not one thing in the world wrong with buying an old figure. Who cares if that figure's been out for 20 years? Who cares if it's been out for 40 years? Who cares if it's only been out for like 4.5 months and you missed out on it? None of that really matters. What matters is what you're trying to get for your own collection that helps your own sanity. And if it's video games and such, fine. If that's what you're into. My thing is, don't let this stuff sway you and separate you from the things you love. If you like to collect, cool. If you like to share this stuff with your family and your friends and your tight circles or whatever you got going on, cool, do that. But don't let it disdain your outlook on what you love to do or get into. I myself have learned to work within my own wheelhouse, as to say. I myself have done a lot of custom toys. It's what I really like to do. It's fun. Lets me break away from the standard mold and create a whole new figure or a whole new thing and come up with a whole new lore or whatever for said whatever it is I'm making. And it makes things interesting. It keeps things interesting, and it helps a lot of us tend to, write things in our brain or however we want to do stuff. And it's one of those things I really, really want you guys to embrace is using your imagination. Break outside that box. Nobody says that every character has to be this. It has to be that. The characters and such that are out there, some of the toys that they create out there, those are your imagination of what something is, or your image, or your representation of Optimus Prime. He's this, that, or the other. He's been several different things throughout the years. But one thing that's been consistent, he's always the leader of the Autobots. Not always. There's been times that he's stepped down. There's times that he stepped away. So that isn't always true either. So the thing is, try to break away from that lore. Build something new. Create something new. Because if you create something new, it helps a lot of us mentally cope with what's going on, with the craziness in this world right now. I mean, there's a lot of things in the world that's helped me. And when it comes to collecting is one thing that has helped keep me from getting strung out on any kind of drugs or getting drunk or doing stuff that wouldn't be tasteful, put it that way, when it comes to your money, And as a lot of us tend to get older, some of us tend to shy away from that stuff, which is fine. And I'm not knocking on anybody that does any of that, believe me. What I'm saying is, on myself, that's how I tend to cope with things. I play with little plastic figures and collect comic books and do stuff like that and play video games because video games are fun. And it's just something that helps me deal with the world that we live in currently. And with price hikes and stuff like that, learn to manage what you got. Learn to work within your own wheelhouse, as to say. If you can't afford that new figure because they've hiked it up and they're $20-$30, then just wait. Somebody's going to buy it. Someone's going to turn it back around, stick it back on eBay. They're going to buy a couple of them. They're going to sell them in the aftermarket. Yeah, they may be expensive, but are they going to be more expensive than what they probably essentially were? Sometimes they are, sometimes not. Sometimes the prices plummet. So it really just depends on what it is, because if there isn't a huge demand for something, then usually that kind of fixes the market, I should say. It fixes itself. If there's not a huge demand for certain things, then they stop making them. But the thing is, these companies that have been making these toys for years are very, very aware of the situations that are going on in the world. They're not going to stop making this stuff. They're probably just going to make less. The reason being is because of this situation. Now, if it changes in the future and things start bumping back up again, that could happen. It could happen. Every toy line has had a resurgence. Every music production has had some kind of resurgence. Every type of movie has had some kind of resurgence. Same thing with games. There are resurgences here and there, but they pop up just sometimes out of the blue. Like, you really have no way of, knowing exactly what is going to go on in the future with a lot of this stuff. So don't try to predict it. Try to embrace what's going on. Take a step back, take a breather, and be like, you know what? I'm not going to let this ruin my hobby. I'm not going to let this ruin my passion. Because that isn't right. I've let someone else win when I could have been in full control of it. I understand. I've seen a lot of people say, well, I've boycotted this, that, and the other. And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's great. That's your choice. But my thing is don't push that on everybody else either, because not everybody is going to approach it that way. Try to look at it as, well, this is a chance for me to go back and collect a few figures that I've been wanting. Or this gives me a chance to go and look for those figures in those multi-packs that I only wanted one or two of, and not have to worry about digging through to find the rest. Because I guarantee you guys out there, every one of you nerds out there doesn't have everything that you've ever wanted. So some of you guys are gonna find the stuff that you want. You're gonna look around and look around, look around. Then the price will be right when you know it, and you'll be able to get it then. So my thing is, don't let the craziness of the world deteriorate your love and passion for what you like to do or get into. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody, go for it. You know, that's always been my philosophy. If you're not hurting anybody, it's fine. I mean, if it's gonna hurt somebody, if it's going to cause a huge issue, probably should stop and think and not do it. Or consult somebody before you pull the trigger on that thing or whatever you're gonna do. Because when it comes to certain toy lines, there's a lot of toy lines out there that are very, very neat, and some of them are kind of underrated. Some of them are overrated. There's a lot of people out there that collect micro machines. Some people don't collect micro machines. Some people that have been sitting on tons of them, they don't know what to do with them. Help them offload that stuff and put it in your collection if that's what you're into. If you're into Halo stuff, get some Halo stuff. If you were into robot stuff and you're like, hey, I like this mecha and stuff like that, well, maybe look for other alternative mechas things out there that are very close to it. Transformers isn't just Transformers as far as I'm concerned. When I look at Transformers, I collect GoBots, I collect Zybots. Currently trying to find some Dynabots and Motobots, which are basically the same thing. They're just little pullback motor car ones. There's select converters. There's converters out there. Quick change robots. All different kinds of stuff like that you can look for. There's just tons of knockoff-y stuff out there you can find too that's just as entertaining as the official stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, I think a lot of this stuff would really, really help and benefit some of you guys out there that are really struggling with what the current market's like. If you can't go buy a brand new figure in a store, look for a local comic shop. If you can't find a local comic shop, look online. Not everything's an eBay thing. Sometimes you'll find certain comic shops that have an exclusive store, and that's it. Look up that stuff. You might be able to find that cool thing that you're after. Same thing with games. There's a lot of people out there that sell used games. You don't have to buy everything off of, one source all the time. GameStop isn't GameStop anymore as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of a joke, And honestly, walking into brick and mortar stores like Target and Walmart are kind of depressing to me because they don't really carry everything you want. Most of the time everybody goes to Pulse. That's great, but don't pre-order. Wait till that thing's in stock and then drop the money if that's what you want. But remember, there's going to be a tax involved with a lot of this stuff if you're buying new. Buying used, you're not going to have so many problems. It's not as bad then because it's usually a private seller or maybe it's somebody just clearing out clearance stock, things like that. That does happen. I mean, I know some people go to Ollie's and find clearance stuff all the time. I saw somebody post a thing the other, I think it was today. Found, I think it was the Bombshell and Rhino, or Ramhorn 2-pack, and also Perceptor. Only $10 a piece at Ollie's. I saw. That's nuts. That's dirt cheap for a Generation 1 toy, basically. Yeah, I know it's not the official colors, but it's more like cartoony colors, but some people like that. If you're not into that, fine, I get it. But I mean, it's just, it's an option. But But yeah, I think the tax is what's really going to be kind of killing a lot of people on a lot of this stuff. And it's not fun. I personally think it's just one of those things where you just really need to kind of step back, enjoy your hobby, and just enjoy life. Sometimes this may be just a reprieve, just a breathe from what you're trying to do with your toy collecting and gaming and any of the other stuff you're into, comic book collecting and such. I mean, I collect some comics. I don't go crazy on it, but I do occasionally collect some. I don't really collect a whole lot of insane toys anymore. Really, because I pretty much have about everything I want toy-wise. Very, very little I can think of that I personally want toy-wise, but there are a lot of things out there that people do want. Me, I'm thinking about turning over a whole different thing and maybe work on my other passion, which is vehicles, and I like my cars. It's something I'm looking into. I know it's gonna be, parts can be pricey depending on what you're trying to do. But another one of my passions is film, so I might end up actually buying some more Polaroid film for my little Polaroid camera. That's just something I like to do. It's expensive, but hey, it's an alternative to the hobby that you have really embraced. Like I myself, I like to rebuild computers. Well, I got a computer that's going to give me kind of problems. I got to clean the fan on and see if I can fix that. Simple stuff, things like that. Just get into doing something that's a little different than what you normally do with your hobby. That usually helps a lot when it comes to this stuff. I don't think people really think of that as like a side thing. Sometimes they think of it, oh, that's a chore I have to do. Well, not everything in the world is a chore. You don't have to think of it that way. You can change your train of thought as things aren't always a chore. Sometimes it's just there to be fun, But anyway, I think I've talked you guys' ear off about this. Just have fun with the hobby. Don't let the craziness of the world ruin your passions. And just enjoy life, because it's what it's really all about. Anyway, this has been Plasticon. This is me signing off. Peace out, you guys. I'll see you around. There's plenty more coming your way. That's it for now. Bye!